You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona, and with me always are my good friends.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And Shannon G and Mesa AZ.
And we are so glad to have you. We appreciate everything that you do for us, listener-wise. If you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and share. Sharing it always helps the algorithms, and that helps us get the word out. And kind of makes our...
I was thinking the same thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that made comments on our last episode. That always helps us out as well. We were able to kind of respond to some of those. We were getting, I think the last episode we talked about the John Morgan Electric Fun Fly, which is up in St. George, Utah, and some of the guys that were listening kind of replied to us, and so we really appreciate that. We were able to talk to Shannon about everything going on up there, and he kind of went and visited with Barrett, and then this last weekend, actually it'll be 2 weekends when you hear this, but this last weekend you were able to go up there and kind of participate in the festivities. So
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
First thing is I got in trouble because I wasn't supposed to let the cat out of the bag about the Arado yet.
Ooh.
So when that posted, Jared's like, that was supposed to be a surprise. I'm like, you didn't tell me that. I just thought you knew. So, but it was all good. It was all good. And a few people knew about it because he had having other people help him on designing it. But yeah, so we went up to St. George, drove up on Wednesday night. We went out to the field on Thursday, got all our stuff set up, and got some flights in, and their field is so beautiful. It's the Remote Possibilities RC Club. I want to give a shout out to them. Got to spend some time with their president Joe, just talking about clubs, just club stuff, and how it runs, and what all they have to go through, and they're they've got a beautiful facility. They work with the city. They work with BLM, a couple other organizations, but it's really top notch. So got some ideas to share with our field.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah, just that's one of the best things about this hobby. Just get to talk to everybody and share your ideas. It's really cool. So we got the Arado out. We did some taxi tests on Thursday. He wanted to wait till Friday when it was a bigger crowd, I think, or somebody was supposed to show up that wasn't there yet. I think that's what it was. It was John Kay, who does like a lot of the videos, the Just Wing It guy. I think you know John. Yeah. So sure. Yeah, so Thursday was pretty low key at the field, but then we went to Ace to get some supplies to fix something with the van, and then the van broke.
Oh no!
Yeah,
when it rains, it pours.
That's right.
Yeah.
We worked through that. We got a rental car, and it took a little hat. It was hard to get a rental car there, believe it or not. St. George is a popular place. There was lots of tourism. So we got a car, and we were able to get around. Friday, the weather started out absolutely perfect. I mean, I only took a couple planes. I took the big T-28, which just looks good in the air no matter what, and I took my Hawker Hunter, flew that a bunch of times, and I got a lot of guys like really were liking to see that. And I took my little F8 Crusader, my little 50 millimeter one, or 64 millimeter one, and I don't know what it was, but it just would not get it. I took off and I could not hold any altitude, and it just went in. It's not bad, but it was just like it didn't want to fly up there, so put it in the truck.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher altitude.
Yeah,
up that
I was
way.
going to say, what's the altitude?
Yeah, and that was something we definitely were talking about at different times, and so we did that, and then Friday morning, the big maiden of Barrett's plane came around, and thing just took right off the ground, no hassle. He doesn't fly with any Expo, and I don't know. I know Mike does, obviously. Do you fly with Expo, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
And okay,
yeah.
Most of us do to some degree, right? I mean, it's pretty standard. But he's old school, so I mean, he's analog, and I love it. He's analog,
sure.
And he flies all his planes like that. And but what's funny is when people go to fly his planes, they're like, "Do you have any expo on this?" And he's like, "No, what's that?" So you got to do a lot. And Brent Heck was pretty much like, okay, after he flew it, because he let Brent Heck fly it once, he's like, "You got to put some expo because it'll make your flight so much better." Because you're fighting this thing, you're fighting it.
Sure,
but it flew great, and he landed it, and big round of applause. The crowd went wild. Beautiful plane in the air. I mean, it sounds good. Those the Freewing power system. It was just off the ME262. Was perfect for it. Didn't CG's right, just a little trim. It was just great. So he got about 6 flights the whole weekend out of it, which was I think respectable. And
wow.
Yeah, it is. He let Brent fly it. His last flight, he was kind of bouncing him around, so he's like, I think I'm just gonna cut my losses and bring it in. So, but he was getting used to
smart.
He's getting used to the expo with that.
Oh, so Brett
he talked him into it. Yeah, he talked him into it just a little bit, like 20%. But he's like,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he said, yeah, it made a difference. So, yeah, and you could definitely
tell. Well, when we were at the Gilbert Quiet Flyers, I flew for 2 or 3 years without any expo. I didn't know anything about expo. Everything was at 100%. And when I first started learning, I think that was better for me because you had to be so much smoother on the sticks. You couldn't be banging the sticks around. Or your airplane was all, going to be twanging around. And so, when I eventually found Expo, I was like Brent. I was just like, wait a second, this is like a whole different airplane. It
game changer.
Flies so much different. But my Expo is always between 20 to 30. It just depends on the airplane, but even on my EDF jets and even on my big turbine jets, I fly with probably around 32 to 33, but I've never gone above 35.
Yeah, I'm in roughly the same air.
Sometimes on the smaller jets, I may get it up to 40. But this is just kind of funny to just be sitting here listening to this, So, of course, when I met Jim, he was a guy who used Expo. He knew about Expo, but the problem was he used too much Expo.
A lot.
To the point where I would be turning the plane for whatever type of plane it was, and I'm like, I got it in a steep bank, or I'm coming down, and I'm getting a little aggressive on it, and the plane's not responding, and I'm like, oh crap, something's wrong with the plane, right? Because I'm honking back on this thing, or I try to do a maneuver, and I'm like, and I'm like, it's not responding to it, and I'm like, what is wrong with this now? And it would affect me more when I'd be getting the plane set up to land. I'd be coming in to land the plane. And I'm just like, okay, give me a little, you're just giving that little nudge or whatever, get your glide slope right, or you're doing whatever. And the plane's just doing its thing, and it's just kind of going to the left, or it's going, it's going wherever. And I'm like, what is wrong with this? Something's wrong with it. Hey, Jim, I think we got a problem. And he's like, what's the problem? There's no problem, And I'm like, okay. I was trying to pull back, and it was funny because it was one of those things where I'm flying his stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I must be crazy because he'd fly it. He's like, it flies great. And Mike happened to come down for a visit. And I go, hey, man, fly this plane around the pattern and tell me what you think. And Mike's like, yeah, man, no problem. He takes it off flying around. He's like, something's wrong with this thing. And I'm like, I knew it. So then we sat him down. We're like looking through the radio. And sure enough, he was like, I just have a little Expo in there. We're like, okay. And I don't remember what turned us think about.
I looked at it. He told me that he had a little Expo in there, and I said, oh, well, let's see how much it is. And he flipped over to the screen. It was 99%.
Yeah, it was something. It was.
So he thought it was the other way around, or did he think it was?
Yeah, or whatever it was. He had it where it was like way off. So you would go all the way full stick, and then it would get full deflection, and just go do something crazy.
The plane would be like, whoa!
It was crazy.
Right.
I rolled it all back down to 20. Yeah, I rolled it all back down, and then I flew it.
It was a bit of a horror show. Like you said,
it was a horror show.
Because you'd be kind of we're trying to finesse the plane onto the ground or whatever,
none of that.
And you're just going almost the sticks to the buried deep in the corner, and then all of a sudden the plane would like want to flip over, do 40 rolls.
It's like the old school push button, push the button.
Yes, that is exactly right. Yep.
Whack.
Push. Well, anyway, good. I'm glad to hear that Barrett is using Expo or is starting to. I think that he will be happy with that.
And he started to use the IX-14 that he won at AEF.
Nice.
So, so he got that plane on there, and we got and we had to because he was using 2 different brands of retracts, one for the nose gear, one for the mains. So we had to mix it. And so I had to do a mix for him. And then he started putting a couple of those because he has a radio that he uses for his boats primarily, and it has the ratchet spring load on it. So when you go to turn a plane on of his, you got to hold the throttle stick down, otherwise it goes to the throttle kicks in. And he doesn't.
Oh,
Whoops.
right.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So I'm like, okay, let's start moving planes from that radio, your boat radio, over to the IX-14. So we're working on that too. But
yeah, I have to because he commented on our show, and he said it's not that I don't want to use the IX-4, I'm saving it. So it was pretty funny comment.
It's like saving it. Yeah,
it's funny.
Like,
Yeah, because I may run out of models.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to fill it up. Just don't want to fill it up.
But he's loving it. So he's gotten that.
Well, good.
So yeah, so then we had a lot of our regular friends from AEF, the Solts, Jeremy and Kyler were there. They were like,
oh yeah,
it was like I kept asking him like, are they coming? Like, oh, I don't know. And there was kind of like oh, we got to surprise Shannon with something. So I don't know if it was just me, but they're like, oh yeah, surprise, we're here. So it was good to see them. And then Justin Lamb, he came down, him and his girlfriend, and then I mentioned Scott Ramirez, another scratch builder. He made a really cool plane this time. He took a Park Zone T-28, the smaller one, the 1.2 meter one, and he turned it into a Navion. You know what a Navion is? It's like an old school.
I do.
It's got a cabin. It's got retracts. It's an old school.
Yeah.
4-seat airplane, but built in the like late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
Look it up, Jay.
Okay.
It's a cool plane though, but he did it up and he totally, he had to do a lot of work. I mean, it's so little of it's still the T-28, but he has that knack of taking a plane and turning it into something completely
shaping it into something different.
He's really good.
So I actually have flown the real one. Yeah. So when I was in college, there was a guy I know I've got a crap ton of them, but yeah, I actually flew one in college.
Oh, sweet.
So not a lot, but there was a guy on the field, and I went up with him, got a little time in the Navion.
Sweet. Beautiful airplane.
Yeah.
I mean, just a classic.
It's comfortable too.
Yeah.
It's comfortable airplane. Yeah.
And like I'd been saying, like Scott was in Hollywood. Well, I guess I hadn't talked to him for so long. He's no longer in Hollywood. He's still kind of just doing the artsy stuff, but he's going to come back out to AEF. We had a good time talking, and then
good.
A group of guys from Texas we started talking with. They're going to come out, at least one of them, the one who's retired, Paul, he's going to come out to AEF. But they had some really cool planes. The coolest one they had was a U-22 Blinder bomber. It was a Russian bomber from the Cold War. Both Iran and Iraq used them in the Iran-Iraq War and a couple other places. But long retired, but very cool jet. It's got the engines in the back on the tail like a DC-10, like two engines on the back like a DC-10, not on the side like a CRJ. But this plane was huge, and it was probably underpowered. Brent was tasked with getting it in the air, and they kept working on it. They were working on it all weekend. I mean, it was like open heart surgery. This plane, it was like the gallery, like on ER. They're like watching, the surgery, and they're just doing all this stuff to get this plane. Like, can't get the left side working, can't get the right side working. Get the crash cart in here. It's crazy. Finally, get it all together. First flight, they go to taxi it out, and the nose gear just falls off. So somebody just forgot a set screw or something. But they got all the parts and they could fix it. And then the second flight, the second attempt, a little while later, it was late in the day. It really had warmed up, so the density altitude probably was a factor. But plane got in the air, but it was really kind of wobbling back and forth, and just barely cleared the fence at the far end of the field, and just kept wobbling, and it just wasn't going to go any further. So they let it go in. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it broke in a few places, but the main thing is they're going to up the power. And they're going to do. He says, "Yeah, we're going to do a few things, but we're definitely going to do it again." The other cool plane, I totally forgot this one until just a little while ago. So we've all seen the HSD 747. There was a guy that brings it. I think Jeff Wellis brings it.
Yep. It's a KLM.
Yeah, he does in KLM. Well, this other guy that brought another one. He did it up as the NASA shuttle carrier. Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
So,
for a minute there, I thought you said NASCAR.
No.
I'm like,
no.
Braesdale.
Yeah.
Braesdale.
Yeah, there we go.
Go fast and turn left.
I'm a big NASCAR fan, by the way. So yeah,
well, if you ain't first, you're last.
Right, Checkers or wreckers. Ricky Bobby's my spirit animal, I think.
I know, right?
There you go.
That's funny.
But anyway, so beautiful paint scheme. It did like the metal. I think it did like the metal stuff on it, and didn't have the shuttle on it, but he had the framework for like the mount for it. So apparently he's building the shuttle for it. He just didn't actually finish it and put it on there, but he flew that a couple times, and that was just cool to see in the air. I mean, that's just such a majestic airplane and so iconic. But he had the twin tails in the back, and it just looked really, really good in the air. So that was really, really cool. Lots of other stuff. The guy had a EDF powered sailplane, pretty big one, and he had smoke canisters on the wingtips. I don't know how much he spent on those things. Probably a couple $100 just alone on the smoke containers. But he'd fly that thing all day and all night. Brent Hecht had his T-20 or T-38 Talon, and another guy, Andy, the same guy that had that sailplane. They have those set up as FPV now, and they flew those like crazy all weekend. But on Saturday they bumped, and Brent's didn't go in, but the other guy's plane went in, so they lost one. Yeah, it was pretty bad. They bumped and
that's a bummer.
Went in, and there's a couple other crashes, nothing too serious. I mentioned the mic earlier about it. When this one guy, he burned his finger when he was
that was nasty.
He was wiring his plane up, his big giant EDF with multiple batteries, and he thought he had plugged all the batteries in. Now it was just to the plane, and he didn't. He shorted it and went right across his finger, and it was all black and singed and charred, and it was not pretty. And they took him to the ER.
Well, that's a funny segue. I sent Mike a video of a guy who was having electrical problems, and it's just this guy. He has like this thing on YouTube. It's kind of this funny thing, and I sent Mike a video of him earlier. He was trying to make his own heated seats, and he ended up setting his pants on fire. And then they just had this. So this video I have is like a compilation of his exploits. Now I don't know if it's all real or it's fake, but it sure is funny.
Yeah.
So he at one point he was working on the ESC, and he he's trying to hook it up, and like the thing falls over and he catches it, and he shorts right across his hands. He catches it, and it was like antics like that.
It was crazy.
Wow,
it's crazy.
I can't imagine he's doing that on purpose.
But hard to watch.
Yeah. Well,
it's like
who knows, to get some views. Maybe we might have to start doing some of that stuff to get better views.
How about that?
I know, right?
I think we're.
I'm thinking we should go for the nut shots. That's what that's really popular.
RC planes and
burn up my shop in the background. Yeah,
or the good old on I think the most famous one is, at least in pop culture, was when they did the thread the needle on Modern Family. Did you ever see that one episode? So Jay takes out the son-in-law to go flying, and they're actually flying at Apollo Field in L.A. And he has him go up and hold a hula hoop up, and he's got a park zone. He's got a park zone Corsair, and he says, "Hold that hoop up. I'm gonna fly right through." And he just like plowed it right into him. And so just if you look up thread the needle on Modern Family, it pops right up.
Modern
Family. It's hilarious.
Gotcha.
And I don't know. I think what they end up doing is probably the prop was off and they threw it, to get it to look that way, but it was
look like it,
right in the face.
That's funny.
So
hold that up. I'm gonna thread
the needle.
Well, I think we've all been there. I've actually hit myself with my own airplane one time at the bus stop. Luckily, all the kids had already gotten on the bus, but it was crazy. I wound up with a bunch of stitches. So
blood flying everywhere. Just what little kids want to see before they go to school.
Got a cross right there.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
So,
but it was
thank goodness for Blender.
Yeah, but it was a great weekend, great facility, great people. We had good food.
Yeah.
Friday night we had a squall, best term to say, came through, and we were holding everything down, like the guys with their canopies that had brought their own canopies, like we're holding that down. We're throwing planes as best we can, without having to take them apart into the van and whatever car, we were hiding them under cars so they wouldn't blow away. I'm standing over my T-28, the wind's just howling around us. It's raining, and the rain wasn't too bad. It was just that wind. It was just really, really pushing through, and we kept watching it, and finally it kind of died down. But that kind of slowed things down for that evening. We were right in the middle of dinner. They had brought they were making chicken tacos for us, and I got 2 right before the wind hit, and then some people just didn't get any, so I felt bad for them. But
that's terrible.
But other than that, it was just mornings were perfect, a little warm in the afternoon, but still flyable, and definitely want to go back. So I would if we ever talk about doing another event, going and doing like a live shot and just having fun. This is a fun event. It's not even
Yeah.
it's not even an AMA sanctioned event. It's just kind of a fun flight. You still got to have your AMA, because it's
Right,
AMA field,
right.
but they just have you.
It's AMA
Yeah,
field.
they still have you. They
Right.
just have you sign a form saying, hey, you're not going to sue the city if we do anything. Which you guys do at your
Right.
club anyway, right? And we're
Yep.
starting to do it at our
Pretty
field.
much.
But yeah, so great couple of days, and Barrett wanted to go up on Tuesday.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't quite do that. I mean, I was barely able to, con the wife into getting to go to this one, for a couple of days.
Right.
I'm like, okay, we can leave Wednesday. That's about it. Because I can, Thursday, Friday, I can take off, but I can't do Wednesday. Sorry, buddy. So, but yeah, and it doesn't take that long to get there from here. It's a pretty quick shot up to Vegas and then a crossover, and then you're there. So yeah. So if we can think about doing that next year, that'd be awesome. Or another year.
Yes,
it's a fun one.
We'll have to figure that out.
And go to Chuckarama, Utah. Utah's world famous buffet restaurant.
That's true. I've been to Chuckarama once or twice.
Yeah, good food. Yeah, we had a good time. We went there. We all went there. About a dozen of us went there on Saturday afternoon after the event, and just shot the breeze.
Yeah.
And we definitely got some viewers out of this and some subscribers.
Good.
So I think, I said if we just can, each of us plug away at an event here and there, and
that's
Did Mike set you up with some cards?
I hand out cards and stickers. I had stickers. Yeah,
there
nice.
you
Had
go.
stickers
yeah.
too. That's awesome.
I had both, and
well, that's awesome.
and I was wearing, I had the pictures. At least on Saturday, I had the full regalia. Park Flyer podcast.
Represent.
That's right.
Nice.
All right.
Well, so Jay said he thought you posted a picture or two on Facebook as well. So
Yes,
that's,
I did. I posted. I did 3 videos on our Park Flyer podcast website or Facebook page.
good.
So yeah, so
Good,
there's
good.
definitely some good content on there, kind of
Excellent.
highlighting what we were doing. I was going to try and do some interviews, but it just got so everyone's.
It's hard to do that if you're by yourself.
Well,
it's extremely
and
hard.
I'm not the only one. So Jeremy and his son have a site. Brent Heck's got a site.
Right.
Just everybody's running around. John K would just wing it. Everyone's just running around trying to get content. And I was I still did my thing, but just kind of a little laid back. I wasn't quite as in your face. But, I think
no worries.
we're
No worries. Yeah, we've been around a while, so some of these guys are just getting into it, and we've been the 9, almost 10 years doing this. So yeah we've been around. But it's always good to have new listeners. We love it. If you subscribe to us, once again, click that button. And and we hope to see everybody at events when we go out to there. But we definitely will have to put that on our calendar for next year. It's what it sounds like. It's a super fun event, a beautiful field.
Oh yeah,
beautiful field.
And it's kind of tucked behind a neighborhood, a beautiful neighborhood. It's on city land, and there's like the water treatment plant they just built back there, and they have a gate you got to punch a code in to get in, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
So
that is
they
cool.
leave it open for when they have the event, like the Friday, Saturday. But I was like, I wonder what that place in this neighborhood costs. I want to retire up here because I could almost,
no doubt.
I'm like,
you almost see that.
I almost saw it. I was like, this field is, I love my field at AMA, but it was just maybe just because of that red rock, it's like kind of Sedona-ish.
It is kind of a nice, my wife constantly talks about it. Actually, she wanted us to look at some homes up there as well, just for a summer home kind of thing. But we, I told her we're going to have to wait. And I like the valley. Yeah, you got to plug that sucker in. But
battery died.
It's funny, battery died.
Well, I think that works out because it's telling us our time is limited.
I know our time is getting
there.
Close,
you go.
So yeah,
gotta take the cat to the vet.
Well, yeah, it's true. We got to kind of roll this up, but we appreciate that you were able to go up there. I know it, something you look forward to, and we appreciate Barrett volunteering to, haul you up there in his van, even though we had a little bit of a mishap there. And glad that all worked out, and that his airplane came back in one piece.
Yep.
We're happy with
all
that
those
as
planes
well.
Came back in one piece. He brought 12 airplanes.
That's amazing.
One was to give to John Kay. It was he'd sold him a little Polaris Porter he made for him, and then he'd made one for himself, and he had, I forget what all the planes he brought up there, but yeah, he just had, and I had like 3. I probably could have brought a few more, but I'm like, you know what? I just I can fly 2-3 planes and I'm good. But But yeah, he just loves to, get all those different birds up there and fly them around, and that's awesome. That's what I love about this hobby, just all the diversity, all the different things that we fly. I mean, there were so many cool planes. I can't even tell you. If you go on the RC groups, they have an event page for this. You can just look it up.
Right.
You'll see gazillion photos. I took, between me and Barrett, I took a lot of pictures for him when he was flying. We took like 700 pictures, and he was actually happy with most of the ones I took, so that was good.
Good.
I was like,
that's always good.
Nice.
That's excellent.
Well, Shannon, the biggest thing I'm also getting from you is you thoroughly enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
It's great to see that you enjoyed yourself, because normally what's happening when these events are going on, you're back there.
You're busy.
Yeah.
For a guy who's an ex-president, former president, you normally, for your club, you're normally right in the thick of it, doing all sorts of stuff. So it's nice to see you come back nice and refreshed, and you don't have any underlying stress that you're still trying to undo from yourself, or some problem that you had to work out while you're trying to enjoy your event. So it's nice that you went somewhere, you had a great time, no stress, no fuss, no muss,
minimal stress. We had a little stress with the van, but other than that, we were good.
Yeah.
But, overall, yeah,
that's nothing.
Yeah, I took my comfy chair and took
comfy chair.
They actually had a couple of like recliners there, and so I was like in the poorhouse compared to that. They had like some old lazy boys, and
that's pretty cool.
But so yeah, thank you. It was great time.
Oh, you can dream
on airplanes flying in my.
Oh, I thought about the chair.
That too.
You too can get your chair with a double cup holder.
Yeah, I actually have a picture of him dreaming about RC airplanes in his chair. I have to post that.
There you go.
I think we posted that one once before. That's the best time. So at least we're relaxed at the event. That's what we want to be. So. Well, our time is up. We really appreciate you attending and bringing back some great news. And we're looking forward to some photos. If you want to post some of those on our Facebook listeners group page, that'll be great. We are always looking for new listeners. So if you attended the event and you are joining us, thank you very much for joining us. And once again, like, subscribe, check out our YouTube channel. You can find us on pretty much any of the Spotify, all the YouTube, or all the podcast channels. So our Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Spotify, you name it, we're kind of on there. So been doing it a while. But let us know if you attended. Give us a comment in the comment section, and we'll try to get back with you. One of us is usually kind of monitoring that, so we get an email when it shows up, so we can say thanks. I think that does it for us. So from here in Arizona, I'm Michael.
From Hills of Texas, I'm Jay.
And Shannon G. and Miss AZ.
And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.